Okay, so recently in a game that I actually play in, I know, super rare, the DM rolled up random loot for a magic shop, right? And I, who spent a whole year of my life in like real time and like probably 2 weeks of in-game time, isn't that always the way that it goes? I had spent this whole year saving up my moolah, my cash, my clink, my dough, my sweet shiny coiny boys, and suddenly little Miles found himself with the prospect of owning, for the very first time in his entire Dungeons and Dragons career, a weapon that I have wanted across 3.5, get it, editions, and I have never quite been able to clench or hold in my grubby, greedy little hands. And in a heartbeat, my character, a blade singer wizard, blood hunter, and by extension, me, suddenly turned into the campaign's villain as I scammed the rest of the party into getting me my shiny, shiny sword. I'm just a magpie of a man at the end of the day. So without any further ado, here is magic items I think I don't actually... What is this? What the fuck is this on my shirt? I don't like it. Shirt change. Shirt change. I'll be back. And we're back. Okay. Yeah, good boy. Much better. This is magic items I think I want, but I don't actually want because they would make me into a monster. Do you have an opinion? Okay, come here. Oomph. All right. Now you have to be quiet if you're down there, okay? Can't be a loud, angry, weird boy. If you get loud or gross, I'm gonna banhammer you to upstairs. Yeah, I'm talking to you. So let's begin with the item that I know I'd let my morals and my character's supposed chaotic good alignment completely crumble for. Flame Tongue. For those of you who don't play D&D or only play casters or who have been living under a freaking rock, you plebeians, Flame Tongue is a weapon, any sword, that is rare and requires attunement and was crafted for me and no one else. Flame Tongue takes a bonus action to speak the command words to the magic sword in order to cause it to light up with fire, which is always FlameON. That's a direct Gary Gygax quote. Flames erupt from the blade. Now these beautiful, gorgeous flames, righteous justice, shed light out to 40 feet. No, sneaking up on me. No, getting my goat. I'll see you coming, rogue. And then dim light for another 40 feet. So definitely no sneaking up on me. 80 feet of clear sight is, a blessing for a stupid human. While the sword is ablaze, it deals an extra 2d6 of fire damage to any target it hits. So this turns my Blade Singer's Blood Hunter Crimson Right Green Flame Blade Rapier attack into a magical 1d8 piercing plus 1d6 radiant plus 1d8 fire plus 2d6 fire damage plus my deadly plus 4 damage bonus makes my first attack on every turn doing an average of 26 damage and a full turn of my 2 attacks doing average 47 damage. And if I crit on the first attack, then I'm averaging at 68 damage and capping my max damage out, assuming I only crit once, at 114 damage. Unlimited power! I think it's pretty clear why this would turn me into an absolute menace, right? And it did. I lack the willpower not to be an absolute table terror while this item is near me. I will say that's all that is powerful, right? All that is super strong. The fire is one of the most commonly resisted damages in the game, so it's not like super strong, but it's still stuck in my head as the 3.5 edition of the Flame Tongue, which was actually a flaming burst weapon. Now, what does that mean? That means it does 1d6 fire damage, a little bit of a downgrade there, but on a crit, it did an extra 1d10 to 3d10 damage, depending on how intense the weapon's crit was. 3.5 weapons critted from 2 times to 4 times. Maybe, was there one 5 times weapon? I can't remember. But 3.5 Flame Tongue tongue was not done there. Oh no. Once per day, you could yeet, or as the 3.5 Dungeon Master's Guide put it, blast forth a fiery ray! Some of that good fire as a ranged touch attack, which meant that the target did not get an armor bonus against that attack, and that ranged touch attack would do 4d6 points of damage, which is so cool, and something that they didn't need to lose in 5th edition at all. Like, they could have... Well, so... I propose that we bring back the Flame Tongue Hadouken and make my Blade Singer even more unstoppable. You have anything you want to say about Flame Tongue? Yeah? Really? Okay. Well said. You're a good boy. All right, go over there. Number 2 is a bit out of left field, but I learned about this one the hard way. Nolzur's Marvelous Pigments. Now, I don't know who the fuck Nolzur is, but boy, does he know how to make a good time. You know what, who the fuck is Nolzur? N-O-L-Z-U-R. Oh, right, he does the miniatures, the Marvelous ones. Oh, he's a god. He's a Greyhawk deity, I think. Yeah, I think. I mean, that's not confirmed. It's really hard to find Greyhawk stuff these days. But in my honest opinion, this is one of the most slept on items in the game. Because I, at GM Miles, found out the hard way that it can completely change the landscape of a game. I, wildly flush with overconfidence and pride and my ability as a game master to take on whatever my players could throw at me, getting very confident with 5th edition's often kind of predictable play, rolled up some magic items for a shop. That's how it always happens. Now, one of these happens by happenstance, by chance, luck, felicity, was Nolzur's Marvelous Pigments. The very rare tag on the item didn't scare me, and I let my players have it for just hundreds of gold pieces, having not really read the item description. It was clearly like a creative item. It couldn't get that bad, could it? What a fool I was. The next couple of months of our game, as I had planned it, passed in 3 sessions. Why, you may ask? Well, because there is no problem that Nolzur's marvelous, miraculous, magnificent, infuriating pigments cannot solve. The item itself is a couple pots of paint in a fine box with a brush. Comes with a brush, thank God, like any good miniature starter painting set. And when you paint with the brush, it's like you're in fucking Scribblenauts or Tilt Brush, right? Because the same. Everything that you paint becomes real. The wording is, when you complete the painting, the object or terrain feature becomes a real, non-magical object. So it can't, for example, paint the Flame Tongue, thank God, but it could paint a door in the wall or a hole in the floor leading right into the basement of the dungeon where the MacGuffin is, or a new mast on your ship instead of having to stop for repairs, or a fucking airship. This is the magic item for the player who thinks way too much and oh boy, am I that player. The verbiage doesn't seem to imply that you can make anything living, so no like creating a baby dragon to be your pet that you can keep and hold, but honestly, like, if my player did that, I might be like, just this once, you may play God. Because who doesn't love giving their players a beautiful baby creature that they can love and cherish and hold, and who could be really powerful if they love it and care for it enough so you can take it away from them? But I digress. Now, technically, you can't paint anything that has a greater value than 25 gold pieces, so I think painting that airship would be impossible. Unless you painted it one part at a time and then assembled it, but this is what I mean by thinking too much. Before we get to the last one, if you're enjoying the video, like it. If you're enjoying me, subscribe. That's it, that's the pitch. Finally, this last one is less of a, I'm a monster because I want the power as a player, and much more of a, I'm a monster because I know what it's like to sit in that chair and be the dungeon master and have my players suddenly have something that makes me stretch my brain in ways that I can hardly imagine. But here we go, right? Here we go. into the deep end of my mind and things that I've barely thought of and definitely haven't planned for. So maybe the top tier item for me is the Atlas of Endless Horizons. This rare, it's only rare? What is wrong with this game? This rare magic item requires attunement and can only be used by a wizard. It was introduced in Tasha's guide. It's definitely worth a multi-class. If you're not a wizard and you get this item, whoop, switch. Hop the Rubicon Wizardus. It's a spell book that you can use as your wizard spell book, and you can use it for your arcane spellcasting focus as usual, and it has 3 charges, regains 1d3 daily at dawn, and you can use those charges in 2 ways. First of all, you can use a charge to swap out your prepared spells for a conjuration spell. If you build your caster the right way, this is a super powerful way to swap your loadout for the day from a non-combatant utility build to like a much more effective combatant build in the middle of the day, so you can prep a little bit more flexibly. And the second way that you can use these charges is that when you're hit by an attack, you can use your reaction to teleport 10 feet and the attack misses you. And what wizard doesn't always need another way to get out of your grasping, cloying little martial NPC hands? But the real attraction, in my humble opinion, of this item is the spells that come baked into your spellbook. In ascending order from lowest to highest level: Misty Step, Dimension Door, Teleportation Circle, Arcane Gate, Word of Recall, Plane Shift, and at 9th level, Gate. Now these spells allow you to build a wizard that takes utility and combat spells without having to worry about escape spells, which is like such a thing that you have to think of if you're that squishy. But it also turns you into this ticking time bomb for your dungeon master. At lower levels, it makes you what every wizard wants to be: very, very hard to reach. But at higher levels, it makes you something else that every wizard wants: able to arrive precisely when you mean to. At 9th level, right, you get Teleportation Circle, which it grants you the ability to get back to many major temples, guilds, and other important places, as it says in the description of the spell. Using Teleportation Circle allows you to recall from dangerous places back to safe ones. It takes a little bit of time. By 11th level, you get to travel even easier with Word of Recall, which is like sped up Teleportation Circle, right? You can just pull yourself back to one place that you've defined. And then you also get Arcane Gate, which makes travel a lot easier. You can just like D&D movie, like portal gun your way around. However, by 13th level, this item will be responsible for cracking the campaign wide open, allowing you to plane shift wherever in the multiverse you want. Suddenly, you become a planeswalker, which is exactly how you should feel at 13th level. You can travel the shifting scope of your DM's imaginations and dreams, and isn't that what D&D is all about? Now, honestly, if I were to ever hand this out, I would build the campaign around it. I would allow the party to spend all of their charges to plane shift, even if they didn't have the spell, and I'd make my game into this kind of rambling, world-traversing adventure trying to tie up some force that is after enslaving or maybe consuming all of the multiverse. Or maybe hunting down various powerful artifacts across the multiverse to resurrect an ancient god to save the world? Or destroy it? Maybe you don't tell your players that last part. Thanks for watching. It's kind of weird to me that these were all like wizardy, right? I guess Flame Tongue is kind of less so, but I usually play such martial characters that this is a big shift for me. This is what happens to people who play wizards. They become this. Comment, please, whatever items you think I forgot, and if I get enough of them, I'll make another video with your suggestions added with my hunger for power. In the meantime, stay miles away from boredom, and I'll see you next time. No? Okay. Good boy.